This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Hello again, hockey fans. Are you ready to brave the wild with me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan? Brave the Wild is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to the show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. As well, it's kind of a Sunday night special, you could say, but unfortunately not on special circumstances. Minnesota Wild had a 2-1 lead, just like the Minnesota Timberwolves. A certain team won 3 games in a row in both cases. Timberwolves won 3 games in a row and knocked the Lakers out in 5 games. But in this case, the Wild with the 2-1 lead lost 3 games in a row, and the Vegas Golden Knights move on to play a fairly surprising Edmonton Oilers team, who looked like they were dead and gone. But we'll talk about that later. At the end of the day, the Minnesota Wild end up losing to Vegas in 6. As the great Ronald Reagan once said, there you go again. Well, there they go again. And, well, it's all about history here when you talk about things. So we're going to kind of look at history a tiny bit on this episode with, unfortunately, the Minnesota Wild are, I guess, the first professional franchise to lose in the first round 8 consecutive playoff appearances. So that's absolutely spectacular. We have a lot of wonderful history here in Minnesota. Wonderful history. Of course, Ken of the Sin Bin reminded us a bit of how Minnesota fans might feel and all that as things, magically go wrong for whatever reason, if it's luck or refs or screw-ups by players. Oh, it's kind of all the above. But remember how the Timberwolves had lost, 7 consecutive first-round games before they finally broke through and got past the Denver Nuggets in the 03-04 postseason. Yeah, that was when they had it took the number 1 seed to finally be good enough to do that. Wonderful. The Minnesota Twins, what did we lose? 19 consecutive playoff games as a whole? Literally just playoff games. 19 in a row, which was an all-time record in professional sports. So, Minnesota Vikings have never won a Super Bowl. We've lost a record 4 Super Bowls, tied with the Buffalo Bills. Denver broke out of that one years ago. They actually have 5 Super Bowl losses, but 3 Super Bowl wins. So that's kind of the end of that. All that depression with Denver many years ago. So, I take if the Vikings had a 5th Super Bowl loss somewhere in there, I'd really happily take 3 Super Bowl wins along the way as well. Especially if we got to actually see them happen, not they took place in 1960 whatever, or early 70s or something, where most of us would have, not be on the planet yet, one way or another. So, wonderful. Of course, again, Ken of the Sin Bin was talking about how it's Minnesota Wild fans were literally waiting for their team to screw up or whatever, find a way to lose. And that's kind of, he wasn't even saying it in a sarcastic, jerky type of way. It's just reality. It's just kind of telling it like it is. And of course, constant reminders from not only Sin Bin, but, people locally here, including people like me, saying how John Hines has never won a playoff series. Well, no, he hasn't. And I don't think he had a good series at all. I think most of you would agree Bruce Cassidy, the phrase that we've been hearing is coached circles around John Hines. I unfortunately agree with that. It didn't work out too well. The matchups were not up to par. Getting Eichel on Kaprizov time and time again, John Hines did really nothing to evade that. So, I don't know. and it's like, what was the complaint with Dean Evison was the lack of making adjustments. Well, in this case, it seemed like John, if he did make adjustments, they weren't good. Otherwise, he didn't make adjustments in certain situations that were simply not working. So, I don't know. I just don't know what to say. Cassidy just did a good job. That's all. There's a reason why he helped the Golden Knights break through to a Stanley Cup title after coming close multiple times. Flashing on the screen right now is the St. Louis Blues. They're doing a 2019 at the moment. They're winning a Game 7 on the road. Not quite winning the Stanley Cup yet. They actually beat Bruce Cassidy's Boston Bruins in Game 7 to win the Stanley Cup with their guy over there. So, love what he was able to accomplish. I don't know why the name Bruce Bochy is floating in my head. That's he coached the San Diego Padres and the San Francisco Giants and the Texas Rangers. So, no, it's not Bruce Bochy. So, my apologies there. We'll get off of that real quick. Just Bruce Boudreau, Bruce Cassidy, Bruce this, and Bruce that. And the guy, of course, I'm thinking of is Craig Berube, who used to coach the St. Louis Blues to win their Stanley Cup. He actually got Toronto past the first round. So we're going to attempt to do 3 segments one way or another. I didn't put out a bad signal because I think there was enough responses along the way with me bitching my head off or response to a poll, which ended up working out pretty good. Got a shout out from Derek Felska of the Crease Assist podcast. Thank you so much for that. The big shout out talking about how we, myself and Justin Bakke retweeting really kind of helped get their polls going. As really appreciate that. So, yep, and I really appreciate people that retweet as well. Polls got a pretty good response in the poll I put out there as well. Just kind of talking about the losing the damn series again. Minnesota Wild lost Game 1. So this was kind of in a lot of ways a reverse of the Timberwolves in a lot of ways. Like we lost Game 1 where the Timberwolves won Game 1. That's the other we, but in the basketball world. And then, the Wild actually won in Vegas and the Wolves lost in LA in Game 2. And then, things would snowball along the way after taking a 2-1 lead. In both cases, both teams won Game 3 at home. It felt like $1 million. Kaprizov and Boldy were the talk of the, not only the talk of the town, but the talk of the NHL Network, all over the place. And then next thing you know, Vegas just kind of gets 3 wins in a row. First game, frustrating, damn it, gall darn it, that type of thing. It just kind of felt like Vegas was better the whole time, that kind of thing. Now, of course, we never talked about the 2-1. Oh, well, Winnipeg made it 3-2 just now with a minute 55. There's absolutely a chance still. But no, anyway, like how Boldy and Kaprizov were kind of the talk of the NHL. Kaprizov with multiple goals, Boldy with multiple assists. Marco Rossi, who may or may not be back with the Minnesota Wild, had a goal and an assist in game number 3. That felt great. Gustav Nyquist, who we'll talk about in a little bit, did a whole lot of nothing. How many shots on goal? Let's see, 0? 0 shots on goal. That's great. So, I don't know, maybe some assists that should have been finished, doggone it. It's not his fault that other person didn't score, that son of a gun, whoever it was. So, I don't know. Sounds like a nice guy, by the way, as there was the exit interview and all of that. So, sounds like a nice guy, and he was mentioning also, hey, if, the ref could have just simply called it at the time. I get that. I've cooled off a bit since I was going absolutely ape bleep on him after that Game 5 loss. It's like he just knew the series was over when that happened. You just knew it. Wild, were in position to win that freaking game, and then when that happened, the potential game-winning goal by Ryan Hartman was scored, and it was nullified by a stupid bullcrap offsides. That was the right call, of course. It's just bullcrap that it happened. Zeev Buium would get his first playoff assist. Thank you very much, in a 5-2 win. It felt great. Boldy, goal and assist. Kaprizov, 2 goals, so on and so forth. He felt like $1 million after this game, and I don't know. The Wolves have taken 2-1 leads many times in series and have failed and have never taken a 3-1 lead in a series. Whereas when the Wolves, in turn, took a 3-1 lead and got it done. So good for the Timberwolves of all teams. The team that had lost the team that had been basically weren't they like the worst winning percentage in like professional sports for a minute there? Like they'd fallen below the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the time, because obviously the Bucs they'd won a Super Bowl, and in the Brady era they had a pretty good record. But generally speaking, how the Bucs started so bad and their win-loss record was so terrible for so long, well into the 90s, that they had accumulated a terrible win-loss record. that eventually, that despite some good seasons was still hard to get out of. I know the Wolves fell below that. And now we're talking about the Timberwolves having more playoff success than the Wild. Like, the Wild could use some, they could learn something from the Timberwolves. Yeah, that sounds great, doesn't it? Whereas back in the day, the third season in the Wild existence, they win the first ever playoff series they even played. They won. They beat like an outstanding Colorado team that had recently won a cup. They beat a Vancouver team that was outstanding as well, and both the 7th games on the road, which back then, winning game 7 on the road is borderline unheard of. Wow, Winnipeg just about tied the game. I mean, that was a miracle that didn't go in, actually. Whoa. Well, that would have been historic, huh? Unless that was the goal and they're going to disallow it. Because I was halfway paying attention because I'm concentrating on Brave the Wild, damn it. But, yeah, it's just crazy to think about all of that. Sorry, now I'm losing my mind here. Yeah, it'd be nice if the Wild could learn from the Wolves. But, yeah, the Wild, again, looking like a pretty nice franchise, starting things out, getting to the getting to the conference finals in the 3rd season of existence. And little did we know, it took, 11 years for the team to advance past the first round. And now we're on another 10-year hiatus, because the Wild did get past the first round twice, 2014 and then 2015, again beating Colorado again in a 7th game, which was awesome. And then a 6-game series victory by the Minnesota Wild over a pretty good St. Louis team. But that Wild team, just everybody could feel the momentum that Wild team was better. It was kind of like the Wolves over LA just recently in a lot of ways. So you could just feel the Wolves were the better team not too long into that series. And obviously the whole Dubnyk momentum that felt like $1 million at the time. The Parisi Suter, we didn't feel negatively about them at the time. Like they hadn't been here that long and they were in their primes and blah blah blah. So there was some positivity going on at the moment. Pominville hadn't hit the age wall, which took place pretty much the next year, pretty much after that. Or wait a minute, maybe he already had. Yep, no goal. Okay. Whew. Winnipeg almost tied the game. Sweet jumping. That would have been quite a story.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
This is your before and after story, where your first steps towards a new life-changing career begin. Southeastern College can take you there. We offer in-demand hybrid and online programs with hands-on training, led by in-field career professionals, and career services to put you on the path to a rewarding and fulfilling future. This is where your transformation begins. Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sec.edu to get started.
Well, it didn't cross the line, did it? It didn't. Unless I'm stupid, it didn't cross the line. Wait, let's say, I'm just sorry, this is kind of live on, this is live for me anyway. Is it coming? Oh, come on, just get on with it. Sorry, I'm being stupid. Okay, forget it, they're not even showing. No, it did not go across. It did not. It touched the line, it didn't cross it. So they made the right call. Congratulations, referees. I know a lot of people are frustrated with them at times. But game number 4, it kind of felt like Vegas was the better team, but the Wild were in it. They're hanging in there. Jared Spurgeon had tied it up 3-3, so on and so forth. Gustafsson was okay. In fact, he faced 46 shots. I mean, Vegas was coming out with everything. They were going to kick our butts. Kind of like, LeBron James and the Lakers coming out, and all that. In game number 4, it felt like the Wolves absolutely were going to lose that game, and then they came back and won it. In this case, Vegas, 46 shots on net. I mean, it felt like Vegas was better, but Spurgeon tying it up midway through the 3rd, you felt like, wow, we really have a shot at this sucker. Marco Rossi, who'd been stuck on the 4th bleeping line, scoring a 2nd goal of the series. So good for Marco Rossi at the end of the day. A lot of us think this is ridiculous how he's being treated. Yeah, we do. We all feel it's ridiculous. Rossi said, hey, it's a team and da-da-da. So Rossi's saying all the right things. good for him. Tomas Hertl had his third goal midway through the third. Again, Mr. Spurgeon tying it up just like less than a minute after that. So pretty cool. 54 seconds after that. And then it was a grueling back and forth battle. And eventually Barbashev would score in an overtime period. It felt, it just felt like the Wild weren't going to win the game. It just felt like once it got to OT, the Wild wouldn't, capitalize on their opportunities. And that Vegas is going to bleep and win. And yeah, they did. So it was a tied series, and you felt like, hey, we gave it a damn good effort. We hung in there. We were there, and this and that. But then, I don't know, little did we know what Game 5 would bring, where it felt like, Wild are probably not going to win this game. It felt like Vegas was in control most of the way. It had to wait several days to get to this one from Saturday to Tuesday in a pivotal game number 5. Whoever wins this game is probably going to win the series, right? Yeah, well, they did. The Wild only managed 20 bleeping shots on net. Philip Gustafsson wasn't super sharp. He wasn't that bad. I mean, he really wasn't. He only gave up 2 goals, and then he had some kind of illness and such. And then Fleury enters the game and looked pretty good for a while. And the Wild weren't giving him too many shots. Did I just see the Winnipeg Jets tie the game with 1 second left on the score? Winnipeg just tied the game. Wow. So this is history happening here. We just saw 2 goals scored on the empty net in a Game 7. Binnington, I can't imagine what he's feeling right now. So, even though it's distracting, it is historic stuff. Well, because it's kind of important for the second segment, see? So, you got to predict who's gonna go to the West Finals, damn it. How can I predict it, I don't know. I don't think either one of these teams is going to... I don't think so. I don't think either one of these teams is going to go to the finals or anything. I don't think so. Winnipeg's not going to the final, and neither is St. Louis. So anyhow, William Karlsson, shorthanded goal. That was extremely annoying over the course of time. Kaprizov with his 5th goal of the postseason. Boldy with his 5th goal of the postseason. I thought Boldy was absolutely epic. Again, his 5th goal of the season was absolutely great. Wild trailing 2-1. Oh, just absolutely crazy. Trailing 2-1, it felt like, we're not going to win this game. We're giving it everything we got, but what the hell? It's just never going to happen. Boldy scores to make it 2-2, and it was a beautiful, gorgeous goal. Like, just the move he made. Obviously, nice pass by Joel Eriksson Ek. And again, earlier in Game 3, the Kirill Kaprizov pass was insane, too, for one of Boldy's goals as well. But there was a Joel Eriksson Ek's goal, excuse me. But... Boldy, again, just an epic move. The proper hesitation, the timing, and the shot and the release, just absolutely awesome. I mean, this is a guy, it felt like, 2 years ago, it's another Charlie Coyle. He isn't going to score bleep. We're heartbroken. It's just another Charlie Coyle. He looks like he's got a lot of talent, but, it's not going to, he just did nothing in the playoffs. But now he's looking like a guy who potentially could be a star in this league. Something I should get to right here and now before I forget is Pat Micheletti. Yes, it's kind of Micheletti-like here. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for him. I like him and everything. But sometimes it's a little bit, I don't know, he likes certain players too much, that kind of thing. When he was calling Boldy and Faber world-class players. World-class? See, here's the thing. First of all, one question I would ask somebody, and this is to be respectful. I'm saying this respectfully, not sarcastic and arrogant and all that, because there's a lot of that out there in the podcasting and radio world. People can be real jerks, and I'm not trying to do that at all here. Not even a little. First of all, though, what I would ask somebody that would classify a Boldy or a Faber as world class, first of all, define world class. Top 5 at their position, top 10, top 3, top 15. What is world class? Secondly, I just don't know. Again, depending on your definition, I'm not sure I'm ready to do that. Kaprizov for sure is world class. He is the one player on the team we can say world class. Yes, top 5 at his position and so on and so forth. One of the best players one of the absolute best players in the league. Is Boldy? He looked like a world class player in the series. Yeah, he did. Faber, well, put it this way. When I saw him versus the Anaheim Ducks in person, I got to kind of watch. I really did like what I saw. But generally speaking, he was always kind of like there, making the big stops and such. He was excellent defensively. But over the course of this entire season, I don't know if I would classify him as world class. I just don't know. Again, depending on your definition of world class, top 5, top 10, top 15, what is world class? Because that's a huge word. That's a huge compliment, and maybe they deserve it. Hopefully they both, I'd like to say they both are, but I'm just not sure I'm ready. Again, depending on your definition of world class, So that's kind of where I'm kind of coming at. Is Mark Stone world class? He's right about there. Yeah, I'd say right about there. Was Fleury world class? At times, yes. 2021 world class, and parts of his career with Pittsburgh world class. Not every season though. Of course not. Overall, throughout his career as a whole, yeah, okay, yes, world class. But anyhow, I just had to get to that. I apologize. It feels like I'm kind of going off somewhere. But, yep, obviously you lost in overtime to the Vegas Golden Knights to tie up the series. You had Game 5, again, Boldy's great goal. And then you had what looked like the Wild were going to go from a 2-1 loss to possibly a spectacular road win as a guy who's played world-class level, even though he's not even near a world-class player. Ryan Hartman, who's had a wonderful series. He had a wonderful series versus the Vegas Golden Knights the entire time, and makes you think, well, that's why they wanted to keep him. But I'd like to see some of that, though, more often, like all the time. Like, can you get a little more consistency out there? Is it only now? So he had been better since coming back from suspension, him being Ryan Hartman, but still, we definitely didn't see this. Now, fine. Thank you for playing fantastic versus Vegas. Thank you, Ryan Hartman. Do I want to keep him on the contract? Probably not, but whatever. They're not getting rid of Ryan Hartman whether I want them to or not. So it is what it is. Ryan Hartman scoring a potential game-winning goal with about a minute left. Odds are the Wild hang on unless they're Jordan Binnington and the St. Louis Blues just now. That's gotta suck, man. Oh, you're up 3-1 with like a minute 55 left. Jeez, man. Now you're going to OT. That stinks. But kind of like this one, though, where it looked like you had the win. We're probably going to win it. And then, did he kick it in? Nope, not overturned. The goal stands. It's a good goal. Okay, we're good. Oh, wait, they're challenging again. Because you saw Bruce Cassidy constantly looking down at the smart device, whatever. I think it's an iPad, but I don't know, is it a Surface, whatever it is. But whatever, tablet device, smart tablet, tablet. Tablets are smart devices. They're not 10 Commandments at this stage. They're not stone tablets, so it's electronic. Duh, right? But he's still looking at it, and then a coach is challenged for what? Offsides. Oh, great. Oh, yeah, he was offsides. Gustav bleeping Nyquist. Thank you, Goose. You've done so much for us this year. Especially after that trade. We only give up a second-round pick. That's all. It's just a second rounder. I mean, gosh, guys don't, second rounders. I mean, it takes them 5 years to get to the league anyway. It's usually just junk. Usually they don't make it. Bull crap. Yes, they do make it. Most of the time they do. And if it takes time, welcome to the NHL. I mean, it even took Rossi a couple years. I mean, come on. He was a single-digit draft pick. Took Dumba a couple years. Zeev Buium, well, he was there. He existed. He got an assist. But obviously very raw and not obviously going from college hockey to, which also was in the playoffs, by the way, so that's different as well, but to NHL playoffs, I mean, that's pretty tough. He's not easing into some, February night game against the San Jose Sharks or something. He's coming in against a possible Stanley Cup champion team here with the Golden Knights. So, a recent Stanley Cup team at the very least, and absolutely a contender to win it. Not that they will, but a contender to win it. So obviously, again, he's not up to par yet. He's so, but yes, it takes time, but it doesn't take forever, so on and so forth. But to just throw the pick away for a 35-year-old who didn't do any, who basically you could tell he'd lost a step or two already with Nashville. Great season last year. Would have loved to have him last year, but this year he hasn't done a whole lot. Whether it's Nashville or Minnesota. In fact, even less with Minnesota. He did not get jump-started by coming to Minnesota. No, that was the hope they were trying to go for, but it didn't happen. Them being, of course, Minnesota Wild front office. And Bill Guerin and the Billy Goats and all them. Yeah, second round bleeping pick. Yeah, it's Gustav Nyquist skating off sides, just kind of careless. And, well, why didn't they just call it anyway? Well, okay, yeah, sure, but why didn't you drag your foot anyway? I don't know, it's just so frustrating. It's so damn frustrating. Yes, I've cooled off a bit, but at the same time, not 100%. I'm not going to 100% just let it go like, oh, it's okay, Goosey, I gotcha, Goosey. Gustav Nyquist is going to be hoping to God for a one-year offer from somebody that isn't a whole lot of money. That's what he's pretty much looking at, if anything, when it comes to offers in the NHL. Possibly, unless he wants to play overseas or something. But I don't know. Sounds like a pretty cool guy. I liked what I heard. When I heard his, I didn't like that part necessarily. Like, oh, the ref should have called it anyway. Well, I guess, yeah, they should have. And that it happens 20 times a game, and and all that. But I get it. But I don't know. Maybe John Hines told him to say that, because John Hines completely ducked the question in the press conference. Just kind of like, just changed the subject basically. It'd be like, I don't know. Like, when people do that all the time, they just change the subject in the middle of a conversation because they just don't want to get into it, Dang it. And that's what happened. But an epic, frustrating loss goes to overtime because, yes, the Wild did lose 55 seconds into overtime. We just knew it was going to happen. But, boy, it was, it was extremely ugly. It was extremely sucky. People out of position just kind of caught sleeping, and the goal was scored. And from a possible 3-2 lead, maybe even a 4-1 win in the series, depending on what happened the previous game, you're down 3-2, and odds are strongly against that you're going to recover. Oh, but we'll win Game 6, though. It's going to be just like 2014. We went down 3-2. We're going to win Game 6. It's going to be okay. No, the Wild didn't win Game 6. No, they didn't. The Wild lost. And it sucked. 3-2. Another close, hard-fought game, but the Wild simply did not win. Ryan Hartman would score, Stone and all them. Eichel took the whole damn series to finally score a goal, but he did get assists. Ryan Hartman scored 2 goals in the game. So after having a great postseason, obviously, they're only goal number 1 and 2, but still, he was obviously, again, a great overall postseason for Ryan Hartman and all of that. So it was nice to see the 2 goals, but I don't know, it just simply didn't work out. What did Mark Stone, he knocked the ball in the air. That was quite a highlight play. Good for him. Shea Theodore, who's kind of old past his prime, that kind of thing. Hannafin, who doesn't look like he's much of anything. He was a -2 in the game. Certainly not the same guy he was with the Calgary Flames. So a lot of people not all too optimistic that this Calgary team's going to make a playoff run. But I pretty much have to stick with my pick if I want to be fair about things. What was the other thing I was going to get into? Did I screw up something? Like, I remember how, Derek, with, Crease Assist, of course, they have an NHL playoff bracket. So, did I not submit my bracket? I swear, I thought I did. So, I'm not sure what happened there. So, that's a shame. So, if somehow I failed to do that, I deeply apologize. I don't know what happened. Maybe I was going to do it. I pressed the button or something. I just don't know. I don't know what I did, and I deeply apologize. So I swear, hand on the Bible, that I did not blow off your invite. So just in case you're wondering, why didn't Joey submit a bracket? What's his problem? I swear that I did not blow it off. I'm not sure what happened there, so I deeply apologize. You know what's really weird that I'm just kind of looking at, just screwing around right now, just looking at? The Florida Panthers, pardon me, I'm just sweating in this place. God, it's hot. Ugh. But Florida Panthers, am I looking at this correctly? Do they have just one more point than the Minnesota Wild? Florida Panthers? Yeah. The Wild had 97 points. Florida had 98. The Wild had the same amount of points as Ottawa. That's funny. That's weird. Florida? So it just tells you what a strong start the Wild had to the season. So, yeah, the Wild were awesome at the beginning of the year, and then people getting hurt and this and that. So that's why a lot of people are thinking, a lot of people are like, a lot of people are just kind of kissing ass And I don't know, they seem a little bit crazy. Like, yeah, we'll be better next year. We'll get them next year. But classic Minnesota attitude that's really frustrating. I know Dan Barrero locally was annoyed with that. And I've always been annoyed at that as well. Be it Timberwolves or Wild fans. You know, that's the one. That's the one vibe when I, was at the Anaheim game in the season finale. That annoyed me a little bit because you could just kind of feel it everywhere. You could feel that same vibe, like, oh, it's no matter what happens, we love you and da da da. I'm sure you do, and I love the team too. I would love to see them win. I want to see them succeed, but it just kind of felt like almost like you're married to them. They're thick and thin, no matter what. We're gonna be your best friend and all that. I don't know. I think the expectations should be higher. I remember I was made fun of by one of the other podcasters, Minnesota Wild podcasters, like that's had some success, like real success out there, for saying that, oh, what? So raising expectations automatically makes the team better. It's just kind of a jerk. I don't know. And it's like, did I really? Is raising expectations that, like, is it that dumb of a take? Come on, man. So that was not cool. I did not like that. But unfortunately, again, in the podcasting world, people love to be sarcastic, especially when maybe their shows have got a bigger audience. They think they're hot bleep, and I don't know, stuff like that can piss me off, man. So, but I tried my best to not get too upset, but man, that was not cool, to say the least. So I won't say the name. What's the funny truth? What's the funny truth? I don't even remember the person's name, and I don't remember the name of their podcast, and I'm not kidding. So, whatever, dead to me. They're dead to me, whoever they are. So good for them. Anyhow, so with that said, the Mike Modano Award for this playoff series is going to be Matt Boldy. And that's very encouraging. And you hope and pray to God that this can continue going into next season and that this team will not. Repeat, will not. And this was a comment brought up by Derek Velska. Derek, of course, the main guy over there, Crease Assist Podcast. And, of course, great friend of this show. Love you to death, Derek. A statement that I agree with 1,000%. Like, oh, now we're getting this cap space, and yeah, we're gonna go. We have to sign people, especially like Brock bleeping Nelson. No, if you want the Wild to sign Brock Nelson, you're gonna get another Gustav Nyquist. You do know that, right? And this is not being arrogant and sarcastic. It's just like, don't make a mistake, please, for the love of God. We've made enough of these mistakes already. Jakob Trenin. I agree with Judge Zolgad saying I'd buy him out. Oh yeah. I would buy him out, even though he had a great playoff series. It took the whole damn season for him to do anything. So what's the point? Like, what are we doing here? As for, Brock Nelson, he's like 34 years old. You know he's going to hit the wall. Just take an example from Gustav Nyquist. You really want to bring in Brock for like a 3-year contract, Brock Nelson, for like a 3-year deal worth, I don't know, $5.5, $6 million a year? With a no-move clause. No way. Yep, that's probably about what they would do. Genius. We'd all be just clapping our hands and saying, "Oh, here we go."
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
I gotta bring our own home. Why do we have to do that? Leave the roster spot alone. Leave it open. Let's see. What's this guy's name again? Danilo Yurov. Let's see. We're all excited about it, but oh shoot! I'm sorry. There's no roster spot open for him. Can't do it. So this Liam Ulgren guy, he's just too young, and there's no spot open for him. We got to play we have Gustav Nyquist still, Marcus Johansson, guys like that. Thankfully, 99.9% chance those guys are gone, unless we're complete idiots. But signing Brock Nelson, just what's the point? Seriously, did you see Brock Nelson like dominating for the Colorado Avalanche, or maybe not? Was it like other players? And by the way, they lost their series in Game 7 as well with an epic, crazy flurry by Mikko Rantanen, who'd been on the Colorado Avalanche just a couple months ago in a previous trade. What a doggone darndest thing ever that was. Like, what the heck? Colorado was winning 2-0 and they lost 4-2. Like, you talk about furious rallies. That's an all-time record right there. And I'm getting ahead of myself. But moves like that don't make any sense. Again, learn from Jason Pominville. What's the other name we could learn from? Going way back in the good old days. Danny Heatley, the not-so-good old days. Danny Heatley. What happened with Danny Heatley? Let's see, he was pretty good for a year. After that, it was like, oh boy, are we going to be able to buy him out or whatever? Are we going to be able to trade him away? Oh no, his shoulders hurt, so we can't do that. Terrific. And he came back and did a whole lot of nothing. He hit the physical wall. He hit the age wall. Jason Pominville hit the age wall. He could go on and on and on about all the different players. Parisi hit the age. Boy, did he ever. After he finally came back from multiple back surgeries and stuff, he hit the age wall. But luckily, it's not like we signed him when he was in his 30s, but we signed him for a contract that would have lasted until he was 40. Oh yeah, even better. But yeah, we were all excited about that on July 4th. Yes, we sure were. July 4th, 2012 anyway, not 22 or anything like that. By then they were gone, thank God. But where am I going with this? Yeah, don't sign these older players. Don't sign these older players. If you can somehow get a guy that's under 30 that you see as an integral piece to the future of this franchise, okay, that's a conversation we can have. It's a conversation. But obviously Liam Ogren, guys like that, I don't want to hear about like we're just trading them away. You're trading them away for what? Like what for? Imagine trading away Danil Yurov, and through trading away Marco Rossi. Mr. Russo locally, of course, talking about Marco Rossi, about 75 to 80% chance he's gone because he's just not adding up to what the Wild need. Obviously the lack of size, and he got kind of manhandled. But to be quite fair, though, he did score 2 goals in the series, so it's not like he was a complete waste of space. So maybe they come to a bridge contract, though apparently, obviously, what was he offered? 5 years, $5 million at one point, and they turned it down. I can kind of understand that when he got to 60 points and he believes that he could be a 70-plus point player in the NHL, and I think he absolutely can. Unfortunately, can he match the physicality of the postseason? So far, no. But even from the fourth line, the fact that he managed to score 2 goals is actually, more encouraging than some of us may think. It looks a heck of a lot better than Marcus Johansson, Gustav Nyquist. What are the other guys that did absolutely nothing? We could just count the names practically. Guys that did a whole lot of bleeping nothing. John Merrill, obviously, bringing him back would be like the dumbest thing ever. Bogosian, he's another one that's hitting the age wall. Like, I think we can move on somehow, some way, but then again, can we? Like, buying him out wouldn't be that tough, but I don't know if they're going to do that. I'm not so sure. What's he got? 1 more year, right? And a guy I'd be very surprised if he returns is Chisholm. I don't think there's hardly any chance. What he might have going for him is he's 25 and there was a skill set there. It's just, it looked like, my goodness, like his confidence is just shattered. And that's heartbreaking, actually. Bogosian, 1.25 next season, so it's not like the end of the world, but I remember saying that about John Merrill, but then it's a contract that went on for like 4 years or something. It was crazy. Crazy stuff. Spurgeon doesn't become a free agent until December of 27, and Middleton 29, but I don't know. Middleton didn't have a great series, but I don't think he was 100%. Yeah, and Bogosian apparently, you could tell he looks like he's hit a physical wall. Like, he's kind of, there's just not much there. But that might be the guy you're gonna kind of keep in the John Merrill role for next season. Obviously, Bouillon will be elevated into like the top 4. I'm pretty sure, pretty confident he's going to be elevated into the top 4. You know, the Fabers and all them. Obviously, Faber, Middleton, Brodin, something like that. Maybe Spurgeon drops down because he's 30 bleeping 5. And one of the young guys, possibly like a, what's his name? Carson Lambos or something, possibly gets elevated into at least the top 6 of the defense, you know, that type of thing. Yeah, I don't know, because I was thinking maybe Chisholm could be that 7th defenseman, but you still got Bogo. Maybe he's going to have to be that 7th defenseman, because I think that's the only role he's going to really play at this point. Certainly didn't work with Bouillon. That was just a match made in hell. That's not going to work. So it just didn't. It's just he's too slow for Zeke Bouillon. You know, so it's just not there. There's just nothing there. Obviously, Brock Faber's contract kicks in next year, so that's cap space that's gone, and that's okay. It's Brock Faber and blah blah blah. Maybe he's world class. Maybe he isn't. I think if he's not, he's close. I don't think it's like an idiotic statement that either Boldy or Faber are world class. It's just that, you know, it's a big statement. It's a big statement. Pat Micheletti likes to do that, and God bless him. Bless his heart. I have nothing against Pat Micheletti at all. I happen to like the guy. So, but, yeah, I mean, what do you do with, Chisholm? I think he's probably gone. He goes into restricted free agent with the hammer. That would be called arbitration. Mr. Bogo, he's under contract. Do you buy him out or trade him away somehow for cash considerations or something? So there's going to have to be some decisions made defensively. Obviously, Bouillon again should be here. There's even conversation having Bouillon with Spurgeon, which wouldn't be the dumbest thing ever. No, in fact, it really wouldn't. Maybe you could have middleman with a young guy down there, but it's pretty expensive to be a third pair, wouldn't he be? But then again, everybody's expensive. Everybody's bleeping expensive, right? Just about. Brodin's making 6. Spurgeon's making 7.5. You know, Faber's making 8.5, and then the middleman's making middleman. I know Middleton 43.5. Well, 4.35. Yeah. So, you know, Middleton on the the third pairing isn't the end of the world necessarily. Possibly with a young guy like Carson Lambos or something. So I don't know. I know I'm kind of going on and on, but that's the kind of that's where we're at. You know, looking at the guys and all that, where we're at. Kaprizov, you know, obviously eligible on July 1, for that extension. He says he loves everything about it here. So lives in downtown Minneapolis. Interesting place to choose there, but we'll see what happens. So he's probably going to resign. That's just kind of the indicator I get. It's probably not going to be the easiest, smoothest, happiest 5 second. It's not going to be like July 1st at midnight. Kaprizov signs. It's probably not going to be like that. It never has been. That's the only annoying part. So we'll just have to find out with that one. We'll have to wait and see. But I guess that's part of the fun of the off season, huh? This is the frustrations and uncertaty. The Wild almost certainly make at least one trade. Possibly even somebody, well, obviously like a Rossi, or even like a smaller type of move involving somebody like a Bogosian, like how we got traded away. What was that guy's name? What was the Russian defenseman's name? What did we trade him to, like Anaheim or something? So it was something along those lines. You know, we opened up a spot. Bogo was a nice upgrade, honestly, physical, smart, you know, defenseman, but looks like he's hitting the physical wall too, which is annoying and frustrating. But otherwise, you keep him in the John Merrill role, like 7th defenseman. John Merrill used to be a 5th, 6th defenseman, you know, but, you know, he became the 7th guy because, you know, it is what it is. He's not somebody you really want to count on to be playing on a regular basis, you know. So it is what it is. Sorry, you know. That's just reality. Obviously, Kaprizov, again, I do think, my prediction is he does resign, probably something 13-14, copyright Dan Cole. If you happen to listen to that show, which I don't anymore, I just still remember him saying that every 10 seconds or so. 13-14 million, something along those lines for 5 years. I'm thinking it's just 5. I don't know if it's going to be like some 7-8 year thing, but that's just my prediction. It'll be a 5-year contract for like 13.5. There you go. 13.5. Other than that, I don't know. Maybe you sign one free agent, but hopefully not a guy that's in his mid-30s. Maybe it's a Brock Nelson, but again, and also reasonable here. Think reasonable. Vinny Hinostroza is returning for less than $1 million. That's okay. Could be a nice skill fourth liner. Justin Brazeau, I mean, I don't know. Derek thinks they might just simply resign him because of, well, at least he brought up the question anyway, because of the whole situation where, like you traded for him and he's got the big guy and all that. You know what Justin Brazeau's really good at? You know what he's good at besides just the fact he's a large person? He's a good interview. And I am saying that with sincerity. He is a good interview. I kind of like him. I kind of like him, just like if I was a person interviewing Justin Brazeau, he'd be one of the first guys I'd probably go to. First of all, because he'd probably be more he'd probably be easier to access just because. Seems like a friendly enough guy and all that, But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Otherwise, though, bringing Justin Brazeau back, I don't know. Do you have to? What do you hear? If he truly is a guy who could get 30 points or something, 15 goals, 15 assists, yeah, sure, bring him back for $1 million or something. But I don't know. Watch him pull out Yakov Trenin type of deal. 3.5 for 4 years, with a no move clause. You know what, Bill? I don't know. You know what? I don't know. Yeah, pretty much. Yes, got Nyquist gone. Johansson, just let him go, okay? Just move on. For heaven's sake, move on, please. Goudreau, he signed until 2099. It's not too expensive, but I don't know. He might as well be Bobby Bonilla here. Might as well give him a Bobby Bonilla contract. He's 58 years old, and here's another here's another check. This type of thing. That'd be funny. An annual check of $600,000 or something. He's 50. That's about it, though. Oh, kind of funny. Foligno is what? Man, I can't believe that. He's 33. I'm afraid of him hitting some kind of physical wall. Luckily with him, it's well, yeah, I mean, yeah, even he could hit a physical wall. It's he's not a skilled guy necessarily, but man, let's see, what would he be? 34, 35, 36 at the end of the contract. So, ooh, that's, I don't know. That's risky. Matt Zuccarello luckily has still stayed pretty smooth at age 37, so respect there at the end of the day. So, I don't know. You might have some more cap space, but let's not be stupid. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. And, of course, we're going to talk about that in State of the Wild. I'm not sure if that's going to be the next episode. Might have some kind of update playoff conversation coming in just for the sake of getting a show out. And who knows? I mean, it's just kind of continuing the conversation as we go. I've always I like having those little, maybe the Saturday night special or whatever, random night special where we, talk about the postseason, even if the Wild aren't in it. That type of thing. So, yes. I never passed out the James Shepard Memorial Popcorn Maker for the series, by the way. Gustav Nyquist, yeah. Easy choice. Gustav Nyquist. What also is sad, again, Marc-Andre Fleury's last ever moment in the NHL was an unfortunate overtime goal being scored on him. That was not his fault. And it sucks. It's really sad. So, Marc-Andre Fleury, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful couple years here, and obviously a great career. God bless Marc-Andre Fleury. It was an absolute honor to be at the game that ended up being his final regular season game. What an honor. Incredible. So thank you, Marc-Andre, anyway. Merci, as they said at the game. They said at the game that night. So again, 2005, 2006 was his rookie year with the Pittsburgh Penguins. 50 games. Yep. 3.25. That's a rookie goalie. So whatever. 03-04 actually was his first ever action. Played 21 games. My bad. 3.64. That's really early, man. Whew. He was in the Q too. Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. My favorite. And I'm not being sarcastic. Absolutely dominated in the AHL in the time he was there. A goal and a half. Just sick stuff. 94, 95% save percentage. It's freaking awesome. And then great long career with the Penguins. Did absolutely win the Stanley Cup in 2009 as the starting main goalie. And there it was. So good for him there. That was my favorite moment, shutting down those Detroit Red Wings from winning another Stanley Cup. The next two, unfortunately, he was the backup to Mr. Murray, so Matt Murray. Even though he was the main starter most of the season. The second year, he was kind of like a platoon with Matt Murray. But then Murray ended up winning the Cup the second year again in 16-17. And then since then, the Penguins have dropped off. Fleury went as a, expansion draftee to the Golden Knights and was absolutely rejuvenated. 2.24 goals against average, just insane. Took them all the way to the finals, and unfortunately, they lost to Washington. So, but every year he was there, Mr. Fleury was awesome. And I developed a strong like for Mr. Fleury when I got the NHL ticket and was watching the Golden Knights like religiously and going on those winning streaks, and he had that big giant smile in those post-game conversations. What a cool guy, so I was like, I really like that guy, and don't blame me, people, for loving him. I really don't. Obviously not in his prime when he came to Minnesota, definitely not, but that's kind of how that goes. Unfortunately, it's just reality. By the time we got him, he wasn't the same guy. Still good, but you know what I mean. It is what it is. He had some good moments, some mediocre games, but what do you expect from a guy who's in his upper 30s, like a Mike Vernon role and such? Basically was kind of the starter in 22-23, but kind of sort of. And Gustafsson definitely kind of came on the scene as well. So I'm not going to go on and on too much, but again, an ode and thank you so much. Merci, Marc-Andre Fleury from Sorel PQ. Yep. So thank you, Mr. Marc-Andre Fleury from Quebec. Thank you very much. So yes. With all of that said, I better take a quick break and then we'll look at the NHL. Yep, very, very super long first segment. My apologies, but there was a lot to say. I mean, what did you expect? And we are back here on Brave the Wild segment number 2. Again, very long first segment, but again, there was a lot to say. So I apologize to DraftKings if I'm doing this a little bit on the later side, but we'll get to that right here and right now. Ready to win some real cash during the basketball playoffs? Check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition, including prize picks. Just like Anthony Edwards continues to posterize the competition, at least most of the time anyway. Hit all of your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6, plus even more cash if you outscore the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. So definitely been enjoying this, keeping up with the Timberwolves and against the Lakers. Well, that worked out pretty nicely. How about the New York Knicks overcoming Detroit? So I like Detroit, but I don't know. I picked the Knicks for some reason, and that's been going okay. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly on just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN again for the Hockey Podcast Network for new customers to play. $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits, better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. And thank you once and always, DraftKings. Really appreciate you. So now we'll look around the NHL a bit. Again, I don't think this segment will be anywhere near as long as the first one. Again, a lot to say. What did you expect? Do you think I was just going to say like 5 words and then move on? No. It's okay. Well, better luck next year. No. The St. Louis game going into double OT, St. Louis Winnipeg. Again, it's the last series that exists right now before we get into the second round. Already basketball. There's still a team. Oh, I'm going to switch. I would have switched over to Golden State Houston. That's where the Timberwolves are playing next for your pick 6 kind of conversation. I'm going to bounce around here. I apologize. Just for curiosity, yeah. So that's for Timberwolves Explosion. Might be doing that show quite a bit again this year. Or at least the Wild made the playoffs this year. And we're actually fairly competitive versus the last 2, but still frustrating, as you may have heard. Dallas Stars, well, see, the winner of this Winnipeg-St. Louis game will be playing the Dallas Stars in the next round, and I kind of have a feeling Dallas is going to win that series. Probably, but then again, both of these teams had to go to Game 7, so never mind. Who knows? Vegas and Edmonton, I think the winner of that series wins the Stanley Cup. The winner of that series wins the Stanley Cup. And I should have went to the East first, so I apologize. I think the winner of Vegas-Edmonton is going to win the Stanley Cup. Yep, because... it looked like LA had Edmonton at the ropes. Edmonton was just done. They're toast. They're not doing anything. They're not going to make it. LA's on fire. It's time to overcome the frustration losing to Edmonton in the playoffs. And then Edmonton just went absolutely nuts and tore them to shreds and won 4 games in a row. So, yeah, they did a Bulls versus Knicks type of thing in the 93 East Finals. Knicks beat the Bulls pretty good, 2-0, and the Bulls won the next 4. And went on to win the NBA title over a Phoenix Suns team with the best record in the league. So we'll see what happens. Maybe the Edmonton will beat Washington in the Stanley Cup Finals. It's kind of quite a possibility. So my initial pick way back at the beginning of the season was the Edmonton Oilers. And actually right at the end of the Stanley Cup Finals last year was the Edmonton Oilers. So maybe it will be. Coming into this postseason predictions, I picked Vegas. I think Vegas might be vulnerable. I know a lot of people might think, Edmonton, are you serious? Yeah, I am serious. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Okay, sorry. I am serious. Shirley. Anyhow, Toronto advancing with Craig Berube. Florida advancing with, the legendary guy there. So congratulations to him, of course. He's crazy to think he was the final coach of the Hartford Whalers, but he was in his 30s, going way back in the day, early 30s. Paul Maurice, amazing career. And I was like, he's not even 60 yet? How could you be the last coach of Hartford and not even be... Oh, that's why. He was like, I didn't even know, he might have even been in his late 20s. It's ridiculous. That's when he started coaching him. Craig Berube versus Paul Maurice. Pretty cool coaching matchup there. Florida and Toronto. Of course, Washington and Carolina. That's an epic battle right there. Some people might think that's the Cup final. Man, I'd love to see Toronto win the East. I'd love, or even Florida, possibly like repeat, and maybe a repeat of the Cup final last year. Golden State is overcoming Houston. I hate the Warriors, but heck, if it's the Wolves knocking them out, so be it, Jedi. I would love to see the Wolves knock them out. Just the fear of, just imagine the Wolves getting knocked out by the Warriors. How awful and frustrating that would be. But hopefully the Wolves can get it done. We'll see what happens. That's a Timberwolves explosion conversation there. Predictions here, I don't know. This is going to be a 2-segment show, by the way, because, I'm not going to, this isn't going to be like 50 minutes of playoff talk here. We already talked a lot of playoffs anyway. It's a wild show, dang it. And you will hear from, we'll hear from fan interaction here coming up. The winner between Dallas, Winnipeg, no, they will be the victims of the, we'll see. We'll see if it's the end of the show here, but I think the winner of Winnipeg St. Louis beats Dallas. How about that? So whoever wins the game tonight goes to the West Finals and loses to the Edmonton Oilers. So I'm back on Edmonton's bandwagon here when it comes to things. Vegas, looks beatable. The Wild almost got them, and I think Edmonton's on a mission again, and they are absolutely on a mission to finally bring a Stanley Cup back to Edmonton again. And of course, a bunch of guys that have had great halves or so of their career that want to get that ring, doggone it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if the goaltending will hold up there and the defense and all that. But definitely have a good coach in Mr. Knobloch. So obviously Vegas has a really good coach in Cassidy. Mr. Pete DeBoer is hungry to win a Stanley Cup. He's been in the mix forever. Isn't he like undefeated in Game 7s? So that's pretty impressive. Pete DeBoer, yeah, I mean, shoot. I hate Dallas, but man, I have so much respect for that guy. I'd like to see him win a Stanley Cup one day. Yeah, crazy. He was coach of Vegas, but they never got to the final with him once. Poor guy. They kept failing. They got far, but they kept failing. But yes, I think Edmonton, Washington, Stanley Cup final. Edmonton wins in 6. Edmonton wins in 6 in Edmonton, Alberta. Edmonton Oilers win the Stanley Cup. I'm back on the Edmonton wagon. So let's go Edmonton. I think they can do it. I think they can. Yes. I know I'm just terrible to say, oh, the Oilers are going to win the cup. Well, I think they are. I'm happy for them too that they got back. They got their mojo back, or at least it sure appears that they did. To win 4 games in a row versus a LA team that I think would have killed the Wild if the Wild got to the second round. I think they would have, and I wouldn't have enjoyed it. I mean, I'd be absolutely absolutely want the Wild to go all the way, win a Stanley Cup. It's not like I'm go Kings. Hell no. Screw the Kings. You think I'm cheering for them? Nope. So, who would Washington play in the East Final? Well, until they prove me wrong, Florida. Until Toronto proves me wrong, Florida. But Washington overcomes in a, it's going to be like 7 games. It'll be long. Florida will give it everything, looking to get that glory back and repeat as Cup champs. But I think Florida will be missing in the final. Edmonton will be back, and they'll win this time around. No President's Trophy. Heck, even Carolina might upset Washington. Watch out. They just might. They manhandled New Jersey, so impressive there. So 2-segment shot. Why have another break here? Let's just jump right into the Brave the Wild here, whatever it's called. Well, the show, and you know the thing. Well, it's the thing, dang it. Okay, why is this doing this? Weird. Anyhow, somebody had posted, JV, Len Dawson-Stig, posted Kaprizov and Matt Boldy for Minnesota Wild in the NHL playoffs. Wasn't that fun? At one point, it looked like, was it Messier and Gretzky? Wasn't that fun when we had that vibe at the time? Highlight, faint silence. This was before the Oilers had won a cup yet, but man, they were, clearly they were clearly getting there, winning a cup. I'd also shared, basically, quote tweeted, MN State of Hockey. We'll put this out here again in case anyone forgot our suggestions. Yeah, Eriksson, Kaprizov, and Boldy. Rossi moving up to the second line with Johansson and Zuccarello. Ogren enters the third line with Hottman and Foligno. That might have worked out pretty good. And Goudreau down to the fourth with Trennan and Brezzo. Otherwise, you have Bouillon moving up with Spurgeon on the second pairing. Obviously, Brodin, Faber, top pairing, so on and so forth. Bouillon up with Spurgeon on the second pairing, and Middleton down with Bogosian, which I think was a good idea. I agreed with it, and it never happened. Bastards. So, and I'm not calling MN State of Hockey bastards. I'm calling, come on, John Hines, why didn't you do that? That would have been good, actually. So here's one of those polls the poll that did insane. Almost 400 votes. Holy crap, Eric. I got about 100, and I'm very happy about it. Very happy about mine, but we'll get to Derek's here. What do you feel was the top culprit of the Minnesota Wild's latest one-and-done playoff failure? Didn't give the kids a chance. Officiating, special teams failure. Rossi on the fourth line. Well, the one I did select did win. Special teams failure. Yeah, because we were great, 5-on-5, but got destroyed in special teams. So that's pretty much it. The Wild would have beaten the, say if the whole series was played without any power plays, Wild win. But they didn't, so they just didn't, without any power plays on either side. Second place was officiating. Come on, guys. Officiating? Really? How about just poor execution instead? I can't believe that many fans voted for officiating, but I guess. I know officiating stinks. Third places didn't give the kids a chance, like Ogren and stuff. Yeah, I don't think that helped. Now, by the way, it was a landslide for special teams. 46.2, 22.8 for officiating, 19.6 for didn't give the kids a chance. And Rossi on the fourth line, 11.4. Still a pretty good sample there. And those are the final results. Mine actually has 4 days left, but I don't know. We'll see how that goes. And this is where we'll get a big chunk of fan interaction. Actually, we'll get to Derek's second poll here first. That one got 300 votes. Holy cow. That's that final. Which choice fits your post-series sentiment / feeling about the Minnesota Wild's first run loss to Vegas? So it's another kind of version of it. Wild were overmatched, which I unfortunately picked. I don't know what I was thinking. That was dumb. Yeah, Wild actually played pretty well in the series. That got last place, by the way, 12.7. Wild were outcoached. Yeah, 14.7. Better than expected by far. Not a landslide, but a win, 41.5. And then who cares? One and done, 31.1. If I could redo it, yeah, they were better than expected. Yeah, I agree, but they still freaking lost. I'm almost on the who cares one and done thing. Like, we're sick of it. So, another poll. Derek posted another one. Okay, I'll do this quick. Gustav Nyquist said he likes playing in Minnesota and would like to stay if he can. Oh, boy. Well, what was that, 2 years ago? I would have said, yeah. This year, no. Would you be in favor of this? Yes, 1 or 2 year deal. Maybe 1 year only. No, he's washed up. If GM Bill Guerin does this, equals fired. I don't think he should be... no, he's washed up. I'll pick that. Boop. And that's in second place. It's got 3 days left. Yeah, this poll was just posted, looks like, less than like a half hour ago. If GM Bill Guerin does this, equals fired. That's in first place. Washed up is second at 32%. Fired is 48%. Maybe 1 year, 16. And yes, 1 to 2 year deal, 4%. Who's picking signing Gustav to 1 to 2 years? Who? Like maybe 1 year only? Yeah, I just, no. I'm sorry, no. Actually, it's a great poll, though. I'm glad you put that there, Derek. It's fun because it gets people going. All right, so my poll. It's all about me now. No, it's definitely not. I'm being a team player, right, Derek? That's 3 polls. 3 polls by Derek. That's good, though. That definitely helps the show, I'm sure. Gosh, your polls are kicking ass. Lots of interactions. Lazy, stupid me. Once again, a day late and $1 short, aren't I? God. Well, not lazy, just tied up with other things and other podcasts, unfortunately. But believe me, this one's way at the top. Anyhow, who should lead the pie chart of blame? This is Brave the Wild this time. Who should lead the pie chart of blame for yet another first-round exit? Please feel free to comment away as for your choice. Hashtag BTWMN. So always put that BTWMN. That makes a huge difference. And Derek putting that in, it does help here. So that way all these polls are talked about on the show a little bit, So Bill Guerin, John Hines, Gustav Nyquist, the refs. Well, apparently a lot of people like blaming the refs. That came in third, though, thankfully. But number one is Bill Guerin, 41.8, and it does have 4 days left. Nyquist coming in second. That's pie chart of blame. Third place, the refs at 19.8. John Hines, 14.3. So a lot of people kind of spreading it around, which is totally understandable. Because, yes, deep down it is a pie chart of blame. It's not just one guy. But who should be the leader was kind of the question, right? Michael Bolstead. That name sounds awfully familiar. Yep, got a number of people here. Yeah, don't hit that button. Huh. Okay, continue. Where am I and how did I get here? Michael Bolstead says, I think most in agreement Guerin needs to go. Team is going in the wrong direction. Okay, I got you, Michael. Emin Johan says, I'm not really blaming anyone at this point. Vegas is a great team with much more depth than the Wild. I feel the Wild were good enough to pull off the upset if everything went their way. Obviously, this didn't happen in the higher-seeded Vegas prevailed. Well, yeah, I can understand that. Definitely more on the optimistic side, I guess. But the Wild did look pretty good in the series, to be fair, yes. Mike actually posted first, I do believe, because that's the only one that says May 1st. God, I hate Steph Curry, by the way. Just so you know, just in case you're listening and never heard me say that before, I hate Steph Curry. Ugh. Arrogant little F. I hate that guy so much. Anyhow, I don't... So if the Wolves pound the Warriors, I'm gonna take so much freaking pleasure in that. You have no idea. Anyhow, I don't think... Yeah, Mike says, I don't think any, honestly. Flat out, Vegas was just better and a deeper team. When you gotta play $15 million under the top dogs, you're just gonna lack that depth, and it showed. I think the Wild's window is opening, and the next 2 to 3 years will tell us if this team is legit. I hope so, Mike. I really do. I really do. Well, I mean, one of the ways you're gonna have a window opening rather than either closing or not really opening enough to become anything is signing 34-year-old Brock Nelson, guys like that, making moves like that. Those moves got to go. You have your 34-year-old veterans. You have them. You have 34-year-old guys. You have Hartman, who's, I think he's either 30 or pushing. He's just about there. Foligno's 33 already. Spurgeon's, 35, so on and so forth. So you have all these older guys already. You have enough veterans. Just, open the door and let this window open, doggone it. So that's where I'm thinking, like, where Mike's statement could be absolutely validated in so many ways, is if Bill Guerin doesn't get too aggressive signing, like the Brock Nelsons of the world. That's, I think that'd be a mistake. I think I went on and on and on and about that. Yeah, so great one. That's a good post, really good post, Mike. Snow Rider 24/7, interesting. Derek Felska, have you heard of him before? At Crease and Assist, that's right. Again, great show. They just posted one and was really good. I enjoyed it very much. He says, I voted for Guerin, that the moves made were a reflection on him. Both the future moves, the Juracek trade, and the win now deals for Nyquist and Brazier had consequences for this team. It makes you wonder if the organization will ever trust the kids enough to give them a real chance. Yep, that is, truer words have never been said, you know what I mean? I mean, are they ever going to frickin' let these guys play? Heck, even the Wolves are guilty of it. Like, what did we take? What's his name? Rob Dillingham, 8th overall? And, I mean, how many minutes has he played so far? He's always magically got this ankle injury type of thing. Yeah, sure he does. It's stuff like that.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
That drives me nuts. Yes, play these younger guys. And I get, and I think Ogren being out there is better than Marcus Johansson, who might have some moments here and there, but he's in and out. And I think everybody can't wait for the Wild to move on from that one. Morty is in the house. Morty says, he's responding to Derek. The future will be determined by the kids, good or bad. There's a lot of talent there. We need a minimum of 2 kids to be a home run. Yeah, yep. Personally, I think it will happen. Okay. Maybe not next year right away, but the following year. It all depends on how they are used and who they're surrounded by and all that. Yep. I mean, and yes, one of those quote-unquote kids is one way or another, no matter how you look at it, Jesper Wallstedt. I mean, he absolutely needs to be a hit and not a bunch of, the other word, like adding an S to it. He needs to be a hit. So far, this last season, you add an S to it, and there you go. It's depressing, to say the least. Like Derek was kind of sharing a couple of responses here, looks like. Hashtag BWMN, I appreciate when you do that. Okay, nope, he was just making sure that Morty's got in there. Okay, thank you for that. Looks like there's one more. Huh. Okay, yep, he was just making sure everything got included. But no, yeah, appreciate that, Derek. That was good. Back up, Joey, back up. Okay. But great. Yep, I appreciate the responses to that poll. That might be it. Yep, I shared M&W Young Guns saying goodbye to another season. This fan base deserves to run so much. Let's hope this offseason helps get us closer. We are looking forward to Yurov, more of Ogren and Buyum, and some more pieces to surround 97-12 with. Yep. Basically like a Breeze Matt Boldy with. Thank you for following us for our 6th season here. Yep, hashtag MNWild. Yep, and we appreciate you guys very much. MNW Young Guns, Pavel Bennett, Merrick Skyba, amazing guys there for sure. And I think that's it, folks. I think that's all, folks. Just making 100%. Yep, that's all, folks. Oh, yeah, because he didn't put hashtag. That's why. And he hashtagged him being Derek, hashtagged Morty as well. So, yeah, I mean, that was good fan interaction. It was really good. Even without a bat signal, still got a number of interactions and such. And I went on and on and on. But hope it wasn't hope it wasn't boring for anybody. I don't think it is, right? It's opinionated conversation here. And we're just hoping for yeah, we're hoping that this team does not just continue to sign old veterans that are past their prime and are going to hit a physical wall and be Gustav Nyquist, be another new Gustav Nyquist with a no-move clause. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that be wonderful? What if Gustav Nyquist had 3 years left at like 3.5 or something, and it was a no-move clause? Wouldn't that be great? I mean, wouldn't you be happy? Come on now. There's nothing to be mad at. That's just everything's going to be fine. They're going to be fine next year. Just settle down. Stop complaining. Oh, shut up. That's what I'd want to respond. I remember people were telling Dan Barrero that or whatever. It's like, oh, shut up. What utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. Poppycock. That's what it is. Poppycock. But anyhow, another poppycock first round loss. Poppycock history. Bullcrap. 8 consecutive first round exits. Not 8 consecutive years, just 8 consecutive, playoff appearances that ended up being first round exits. The Twins losing 19 consecutive playoff games. The Timberwolves back in the day losing 7 consecutive playoff series, if I remember correctly. It was at least 6. And back in the day, heck, even 4 in a row oftentimes meant the coach gets fired. Coach and GM are out of there. So it was like, a miracle that Flip Saunders and Kevin McHale kept their jobs as long as they did. It was an outright miracle that happened. And I'm dead bleeping serious. So Bill Guerin could be in trouble too at some point. Like next year, I think this is it. I think it is. And I know people are going to be like, oh, use that cap space. Use it on somebody under 30, okay? Please consider that. Please consider using it on somebody under 30. And obviously part of it's going to go to Kirill the Thrill being for real. And maybe Marco Rossi if we actually do re-sign him. So that's a big part of that. Obviously part of it's gone to Faber, so on and so forth, because that contract is not kicked in yet. So we all know that at the end of the day. So with all of that said, just want to thank all of you so much for listening to the show. Again, Crease Assist, MNW Young Guns, Minnesota Wild Global. Love you to death. Scott Doherty, Kathy Main, Chad Walski, Michael Fick, David Abraham, if I said that, David and Chance Kostick. Really appreciate you. They travel with the team at times. Obviously, fans that deserve better than what they're getting. Put it that way. Like David Kostick, that's a fan that deserves better than what they're getting from this franchise. There's no doubt about that. So, and a lot of the other people that are listening to this show that go to games all the time, maybe even follow them on the road, yeah, you deserve better than what this franchise has given you. So I'm not ashamed to say that. I don't think that makes me a bad fan and all of that. So I don't think there's any doubt about it. Really appreciate all of you. You've been, you've been wonderful to this show. Just in case, introduce yourself sometime on Twitter if you could, at Brave the Wild. It'd be appreciated. There's somebody too that I continue to fail to mention, who has been very loyal to Brave the Wild on Facebook, and I need to mention him right now. I just keep forgetting because, see, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of comments going on Facebook, yet it's got a number of followers. I wish I could, it's got almost 700 likes and almost 700 followers and all that. But there's one person every week, they like the show, and clearly, they've interacted a few times. Leslie Sten, if I'm saying it, Leslie Sten, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I do believe he is from Norway. I could be wrong. Yes, Oslo, Norway. So just in case, really appreciate you. So got to give you a huge shout out. You've been very loyal to this show, and I continue to forget. So I apologize for that. I truly do. So I do believe he is from Norway. I think so. At least one of his friends, it says. Maybe that's his friend, but I really appreciate it. Just want you to know that. You've been awesome. He also was saying that, my voice was, remember, like, was it ways back when my voice was really bad? Because I was very, I just was not feeling good back in January-ish, I think. Leading it up, there he is. He was saying your voice is better this time. Good to hear you're getting better from your cold. And thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Lassie Sten. So I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If not, let me know. And again, I felt so bad. I kept forgetting. Otherwise, so it's facebook.com/bravethewild.minnesota. interact on there too. Some of you that maybe you're more of a Facebook person instead of Twitter, interact on there. It'd be great to hear from you. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening, and hopefully the Minnesota Wild can make some good moves. We should be back, though. Apparently, was it Tuesday, John Hines and Bill Guerin are going to be on the mic. So we heard all the guys like Kirill and all them, Boldy. I liked most of the exit interviews. I thought they were pretty good. So looking forward to hearing what Bill Guerin and John Hines have to say. I remember, was it a year ago, I talked about the postseason pressers and everything. So probably have another episode like that coming up, or we can talk about what those guys had to say and keep up with the postseason a bit. Probably won't be as long as this one, but thank you so much for listening. Please tell your friends, share the show, retweet, repost, whatever the heck you do. Share on Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is Brave the Wild _MN. Obviously, and on Twitter, hashtag BTWMN. Keep things organized. Twitter/X post. Otherwise, thank you again so much for listening. God bless you, and we will talk to you very soon.
Lowe's knows you take pride in every project. So take on what's next today with a free Select Craftsman hedge trimmer or leaf blower when you buy a 20-volt push mower. That's a $119 value on reliable, high-performance Craftsman tools you trust. For the power to do it all, build, repair, restore, maintain, go with Craftsman. Available at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 5/21 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.